Nice. See, Scott gets it.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake. Greetings, programs, and welcome to tonight's episode where we are joined by the fantabulous Gonzo.
Hey guys, one thing, can we get that music again? Because I want to dance. Because that was, I was like,
We can. I'm sure we can send you the full track.
Pretty much.
You couldn't see it behind the scene, but I'm sitting there going.
Yeah, it's got a pretty good jam to it.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Cool. Awesome. Welcome everybody. Who have we got in the chat? We've got Luis, we've got Scott, we've got Alan. Says howdy. I have an hour to watch before the client meeting, and then might catch the last part. Very cool. Jonathan Palomo has joined us. Hi, John. Jess Hunt is here. Fantastic. Who is all for Thundercats. Just the mention of Thundercats just sets people off. James LaCour is here.
Oh, nice. Jimbo's on. I haven't seen him it's been a minute since I've talked to James.
That's been a little while. Josh is here. Fantastic. Excellent. And Patrick Keith is here as well. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Nice. Hello, Patrick.
Fantastic. Awesome. Josh said I said the same thing, Gonzo. It's going to beat and you can dance to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there back in the screen just like, I think you should have like a boombox you carry around at Adepticon that like over your shoulder and plays that as you're walking down the aisles and such, so that everybody knows that you're coming around.
Oh, we can just make it our ringtone, and I'll just call Dave all the time, and he can just not answer, so we'll just play that while we're walking around.
It's the Build Paint Play guys. Maybe we'll screw up the switching.
Maybe.
Then you'll know it's us for sure. Awesome. Very cool. So, Alan said I won New Zealand's first official Warmachine tournament back in 2003 with my Negra list.
Nice.
Oh, the certificate and prize coins. Fantastic.
Oh, those prize coins were amazing.
Awesome. So yeah. My goodness, Gonzo, we've known you for quite a while now.
Yeah, we actually, I think we met at Adepticon.
Yeah,
and we started talking, and then Jake was like, "You're weird. Can we talk?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk."
I was like, "My people."
Yeah. I was like, "Sure, yeah." And we met and we talked about things, and Jake and I had talked, and we'd called each other back and forth quite a few years back about, getting y'all show on the More Than Dice network and such, so I could, we could broaden your horizons, per to say. Yeah. And we've grown our, not only your listening, but we've grown our friendship and going about getting projects and stuff done and working with each other. So yeah, it's kind of weird. I know people now.
It's been really fun. Like we were so when we first started, again, we've talked about this a bunch of times, but when we first started doing this, Dave and I were just like, Dave wanted to do a painting stream again because he, Happy Little Minis wasn't really kind of happening anymore. And then I was talking about starting like a kind of a lore and like a broader podcast. And we were just kind of chatting, and it was like, what if I got peanut butter on your chocolate? What if you got chocolate in my peanut butter? And we're like, what if we just do the show together? And that's kind of like what happened. And we went into it being like, if it's just Dave and I hanging out for an hour every Tuesday, like talking to ourselves, like that's fine. Like it's not like spending time with Dave is great. So it's not like I was upset about it. And the fact that we've grown, I tell people all the time, we are absolute neo-Luddites. Like we don't really do any Facebook marketing. We don't have an ad person. We don't do AdWords. We don't do any kind of media blitz. Like we just don't do that. So every single person that's here has either found us through someone else or knew Dave or knows someone who knows Dave or was part of a group that knew me or whatever. And then it's just grown organically. But the craziest thing was after we were talking to people about getting some backers, and which is a great transition to thank Army Painter. Like we appreciate them sponsoring us. They've done a great job and they've been awesome partners. But even before that, we were talking to people and it was a lot of like, well, how many viewers do you have and how many subscribers and how many followers and like what's your demographic and like how big is your reach? And a lot of times Dave and I were like, I don't know, we have like 200 people that listen to us. And then when you and I had talked at the last show, you were saying that you could see that our episodes were averaging like something like a couple hundred like shares. So someone was taking our podcast that was on your network and they were posting it somewhere else. So man, now our show is somewhere else where anybody can watch it. And it was like, it seems like a pretty big chunk of people are like putting it around. So now who knows how many places it's listed, but that's helped. Like we've had a ton of people jump on and, people that were like, oh, how did you find out about us? Oh, a friend of mine who listens to another show heard about you guys on Spotify. So it's definitely been cool. And it's humbling that people tune in every week and seem to like, looking at Dave and I or listening to Dave and I talk about gaming in general and painting. So always a good time.
It was very interesting because when I started doing More Than Dice, it was just get together, hang out with friends. We'll talk about some subject. Hey, maybe what's news going on, and I'll paint. Someone else will paint, and we'll talk about something else. And then I have a bunch of other friends that were doing podcasting, and I was like, hey, if you want, I can host your podcast on mine. I let you do it, and I'll just send it out in the vibes. I'm not going to charge you for anything. If I don't have to host the files, or if you just want me to reshare it out, send me a Spotify link or whatever, and I'll send it out. And people are like, I get people that are on the network now going, how many listenings do I have? What's my demographics? Like you were asking, and that's where I started gathering this information for people. And then I found out that a lot of restreaming companies take our feed and send it out to everybody else. And at one point, we were like the number one podcast in like Taiwan for like 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And such. But a lot of people do that. I will tell you.
Su Lin joins in this week.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
But it was just so, because I thought, at one point I got nervous because I was like, somebody was putting everything out, and I thought it'd be like a spam, or I'd get hit by somebody going, you're spamming everything. And I was like, and they're like, no, we don't give a crap. It's getting views and listens. Nobody cares. But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like the surreal moment was when I finally figured out, and the false thing of doing my podcast is when I'm standing in line at Adepticon and this lady behind me taps me and goes, I recognize your voice. Do you do a podcast? And I said, yeah. She goes, what's your name? Gonzo. And then like everybody, like 3 or 4 people all around and her were like, we listened to you. I'm like, no, you fucking don't. Don't bullshit me. And they're like, no. And they're like showing it. And so it's now a tradition that when we go to Adepticon, if people come up and say that they do that, We, give stickers out. We have like this year we have special edition stickers and a special edition mini that is being created by a good friend of mine.
Nice.
That we're going to give away and such. But it's the imposter syndrome kicks in until someone goes, "I know you," and you're like, "No, you don't." No. You're like, "No, you don't lie to me." And then they'll show it like, "No, we found out a lot of our demographic and a lot of people that listen to the More Than Dice Network are a lot of truckers."
Okay.
Yeah, you were saying that. You were saying that. That's crazy.
They downloaded them all the time because they have nothing to do. They can't watch it. And that's the reason why I tell people, if you have a YouTube channel, strip it for audio, put it out on audio, because you have a lot of people that are on the road constantly that'll listen to it.
Awesome. Awesome. So just quickly, I'm going to jump back into the chat. Sean Gleason has joined us. Hola. Patrick and Jazz are discussing whether that our intro music would be played by Noise Marines. Scott says that there hasn't been any decent music made since Midnight Oil's Diesel and Dust album. He's not wrong.
Solid.
Chris Kemming has joined us, and Scott also says an hour, Jake. Going back to when you said if it was just us talking for an hour.
I mean, that was the idea.
Well, originally an hour, I'm sure. Fantastic. And Louis said he first found out about it when he went to yours and Ben's store.
Yeah, whenever I always have a big stack of our stickers right at the register.
Excellent. And I am Deathhead has joined us in the chat. Fantastic, saying I'm just a nerd on the internet.
Solid. I mean, that works too.
Yep, absolutely.
That's pretty much all we are. That's something, I mean, my team, we're just a bunch of nerds, and we'll talk about the stupidest stuff, and we always get stuck on food. And they're like, "Is this supposed to be a nerd podcast?" Yes, but food. Come on. Food.
Excellent. Josh says, what was that app that strips out the Vox from the podcast? Was it Opus?
We use Audacity.
Okay.
Our VLC media player will do it, and you can actually do it. It'll just strip it out. Takes a few seconds to strip it out. That was the one that I showed you because you were like, "This isn't working, Gonzo. How do I do it?" I'm like, "Here you go."
The crazy thing is that when you save it, you've got to type in the .mp3. You don't type in the .mp3, it won't. Even though you're saying save it as an MP3, it won't recognize it as an MP3. But yes. I tuned in initially because Dave was on my radar from an initial online meeting where I thought he was a different Dave Taylor. I stayed because I love the celebration of all aspects of the hobby. Fantastic. But yes, fantastic. Awesome. So just before we go any further, Scott did mention earlier on in the chat he was here to check on my 10 paint curated set from the Army Painter.
Ooh, okay.
If I was to release a group set from their existing paints. I totally forgot to do that. So let's have a... Oh, actually. There we go.
I still like the idea, and Adam seemed to be on board with it, of having like everybody who's part of the studio, the factory team.
All right.
Like each of us pick, because there's... I think there's like 6 people. So like each person picks like 1 or 2 paints, and then that's the factory team paint set. And I was like, that'd be sick.
Yeah. So first up, okay, here we go. Matte White.
Obviously. Matte Black.
Matte Black.
Yeah, okay. You have to have those.
You do. I would go for a plate mail metal.
Yep.
Solid.
I was tempted to go for mithril because it's easier to darken that down with the matte black.
Yeah.
But plate mail is still pretty bright, which is nice. Ice yellow, always a good choice.
Okay.
Highlighting anything. Brigadine brown is from the John Blanche set.
Nice.
No, it's not. Sorry. It is from it's the darkest one in the browns.
Scott's like, you don't count white and black. Come on, dude.
If I don't have to count those, that's great because I will then put where to go. I'll put Guardian green in.
Okay.
Deep ocean blue.
That's a great color.
Like that. Moonbeam yellow, which is from the John Blanche set. Ruddy Terror as well.
Okay.
From that. I picked Midnight Olive also. John
From
Blanche
the Blanche set, yeah.
But because sorry, I was going to put pure red in, but if I don't have to put like black and white in, I would go for there we go, Blanched Berry and Fiery Vermilion. So there we go.
The Fiery Vermilion reminds me of when Citadel used to make I think it was Blood Angel Orange.
Right.
Like that, it reminds me of that.
Yeah, this is like way back in the original type of pots. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of there. It's a little bit darker. It's probably in between whatever the next red was. So the orange.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Like now I would say it's close to like Wild Rider red.
Yeah. But
back in the day, it reminds me of like Blood Angel Orange. It's like, which is hilarious because like it wasn't even really an orange. It was like, I mean, I guess it was. It was right on that. Like if you're making the rainbow flag, it's right on the transition between red and orange. It's darker than orange, but it's not really a red.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott, I'll put together my 10, not counting black and white for next week. I didn't think to do that. So
awesome.
But how do you choose 10 colors? I mean,
so I think like, so the Blanche set, for example, from what I understand, and we had Adam on a couple weeks ago and he was talking about it. It was basically colors that John either really liked or colors that he uses. And a lot of times it's him completing a triad or like adding another level to like one of the color triads they have. Like Blanchberry, I forget where Adam says it fits in, but it fits in between like not what was it, something plum and like, you know, cursed pixie or whatever. So like it adds another tone. Yeah, I don't remember which one. He said where it fits. I don't remember.
But jam green.
My new favorite color name is now something plum.
Yeah. No, that was poison plum. I thought it was.
No, I thought you said something plum.
Oh.
Something plum, but we got to call it plum, but with a B at the end. So
yeah. But yeah, so a lot of his were like adding a new step to the triad, so you could like bump it one way or the other. In almost every case with John stuff, you're bumping it down a tone. But yeah, I mean, like really, really cool. So if it was me, like if I was picking a set, I would just kind of pick the 10 colors that I either like or wish they had. Not necessarily the colors that I use. If I did the colors that I use all the time, it would be like the 5 colors I use for my Blood Angels to do red, and then like a gold and like some sort of, you know, strong tone or earth wash or something. Chestnut ink, if I could have them bring back chestnut ink, like you know what I mean? Like so I don't know. It's always weird to me. I don't know how you pick the 10 for your set. If it's just like the 10 colors used the most, I can tell you right now, like that's not what Dave would have picked. Dave would have picked other colors that he, you know, right? So I don't know. I guess it depends on, you know, what we're trying to do, what the object of picking your 10 is. So
I think I can make a whole bunch of stuff out of that, because the Ruddy Terra and the what do you call it? Ruddy Terra and the Ice Yellow can make a great skin, like more a Caucasian skin tone.
Yeah.
The Brigandine Brown and Ice Yellow great for a darker skin tone. The Guardian Green has a nice saturation to it. The Midnight Olive is nicely desaturated. There's a lot of things you can do to create a lot of different tones within there.
There's a bunch of colors. There's a bunch of colors that like don't exist anymore that I wish they still made. And I think that my big thing would be if Army Painter was doing this and they were like, yeah, you know, sky's the limit, pick out 10. I would literally have them recreate a bunch of my favorites that just don't exist. I'd be like, I want a chestnut ink. And they're like, oh, it's strong tone. It's not. It has a little bit of red in it. You know, it's got that. It's a great ruddy tone. I use it on skin. I also use it on brass and gold. Like it's just I would bring that back. I'd probably have them, you know, make something that looked like Scorched Earth back in the day was one of my favorite colors. I used it on almost every single model, whether it was a base or like a great coat or something. It's a really, really nice sort of, I don't know. It's like in between what Steel Legion drab and like dryad bark. Like it's kind of in there. Like I would, have them make something like that.
Brigadine brown is pretty close to that.
It is. It's close. It's a little darker, but it's close.
Yeah, not quite as purple. But anyway. Thanks for letting us that little diversion. I will point out Jess Hunt said Fiery Vermilion sounds like a prog rock band that would have nose flute solos in songs about Mordor.
Oh yeah, it's on their concept album.
Yep, absolutely. That's great. Excellent.
The idea, Scott says the idea is that these would be your kind of 10 paints in a desert island kind of deal. So that's what I think. So I'll try something with Dave's set after I get those blanch colors. Then Jake's. Yeah. So again, it's assumed that it's a 12 paint set. So black and white, and then our 10 colors. So
sounds good. And Jim says the Zorn palette, even though Blanche stated he's never heard of it.
Amazing.
I could totally understand, like, his people work in different ways. Not everybody studies exactly the same stuff. So, and I'm sure the way that, like, John's always worked in a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like an emotive way. So rather than a study and copy way.
Yeah.
Thing. To understand, it's a very different approach. So I'd never heard of the Zorn palette.
Yeah, I hadn't either. When they brought it up a couple weeks ago, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's like
to the Googles.
Pretty interesting thing. Excellent.
I also thought it was Zorn, like the D&D monster, XORN.
Right. Jonathan Plummer said, Dave, and you just mentioned Midnight Oil. I imagine Peter Garrett painting minis, but he keeps on knocking his paint water over because he flails his arm about.
Nice.
Check out this one.
Brenda says, bring back secret weapon miniatures, weathered wood and rubber highlight. Scott said that foundation range reviewed you. I still have a couple of the foundation paints. They were super weird. They were like chalky and like loaded with pigment. John Gleason says he likes Overflash.
Of course you do. Of course.
Dude, I have so many paints.
Excellent.
There we go. Nice. Yeah. Very nice.
And there's another shelf right behind that monitor that has about the same amount too.
That's awesome. Excellent.
It's a little.
Well, before we get into chatting about some stuff, Jake, I've got your picture.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that then. But Gonzo, what have you been working on?
So one thing I'm doing right now is so I can show up. I am working on a diorama for a Trench Crusade.
Nice.
There is a contest going on. I've never done a painting competition in my entire life. I've never done any competition at all. And I was like, I have every single Trench Crusade STL, so let's do something and make it. And so I'm doing that. I got everything printed up, been working on a bunch more models. So I'm going to be working on this Trench Crusade diorama that I want to put up, which includes the Iron Sultanate Assassin and the Heretic Assassin, and it's going to be, oh shit, I'm hunted.
Awesome.
Ben has a bunch of the church dreadnoughts.
The
shrines or the shrine.
Yes, the shrines.
Yeah. He's got 2 of those at the store. They look pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
nice. I've got my
the Brazen Bull.
Brazen Bull. And the rest of my what do you call it?
Iron Sultanate.
Sultanate. Yep. So
I'm so glad that they put that on a round base and on an oval base.
Yeah. Well, I just decided I didn't have any of the oval bases, so I had 50 mils. And I saw some post in Trench Crusade in the Trench Crusade Facebook group where somebody said, I don't think I'm not sure. Should these go on 28s or 32s? And Thomas Pirinen responded with, yes.
That sounds like him.
It's like fantastic. It means the basing size doesn't actually matter. I mean, as long as you're close and it looks good.
Yeah.
So something that I've also done for mine. Sorry to. Is I think I might show this.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, the Giselle teams.
Yeah, so this is using this as a siege Giselle. So the Azebs with siege Giselle. So it's from a for another sculptor called Mr. Jar. So, but it fits in nicely with the official minis.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks like it's from the same line.
Yep, pretty much. There are a few slight differences, but yeah, that's fun. Excellent. So which one are you? Yeah, so you're doing the diorama first.
Well, I'm kind of off and on. Which hold on, I'll show you something I'm really working on. I supersized
Oh
the
wow!
artillery witch.
Oh nice.
And she's going to be a terrain piece.
Oh, fantastic.
So that was something I've got her. I supersized her up. She's about a little over a foot tall, and she's going to be a terrain piece that's going to be put on my battlefield.
Yep, fantastic.
Nice.
That's an amazing model.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, it's probably time for us to jump in and start the slideshow and get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's show, talking about Warmachine, past, present, and future. And there we go. I need to actually screwing things up already. Nice.
This is why everybody tunes in. They like the play-by-play as Dave is walking us through what he's doing.
Oh,
excellent. So, of course, first up, I need to mention 28 Collected. So, Kickstarter is running right now. We launched last week. We are funded, and there are currently almost 1,500 people who are backing the campaign. So we are very excited about that. Things are going really well. And there's a free STL that we're giving away to all backers of the book for a Trench Crusade. And we've got a couple of other stretch goals coming up. So there's that. Next up, again, mentioning the Army Painter, they announced their winner of the dragon painting competition. They had a bunch of content creators paint up the dragon that was in the Wargamer paint set box last year. Don Serratos was the winner of that. If folks have checked out Don's work before, Don is from the Philippines, got a fantastic YouTube channel, does some fantastic work. A lot of cool stuff on Gundams as well. So Luis probably knows this guy. But definitely go and check out Don's work. Very cool stuff. Nice guy as well.
Well, congrats to him. That was a pretty deep pool of applicants. So
yeah, there was definitely a lot of cool stuff in that. Somehow I didn't enter my piece in the correct fashion. I think I might have just done a hashtag rather than sending it to somebody. So
in his head, Dave entered the contest.
Yeah. So sadly, my piece didn't make it in.
If you need social media help, that's all right. I'm here for you, Dave. I have someone that can give you all the hashtags properly.
It's just a matter of following instructions. I struggle with. Anyway, Jake, your hobby.
Yeah, I've been doing some hobbies. So I built this dreadnought. The sheer amount of hoops I've had to jump through to get parts for all the stuff I'm building for Adepticon is insane. Everything Horus Heresy is sold out. Chris came through with a box for me. Ben came through with 3 boxes for me. I was able to get my hands on 2, and then another friend of mine traded me some stuff. So I built that, and then you don't need to show this, but this is just a plastic thing full of pieces, and I have all the miniatures for all the pieces cut out.
Right.
I've been cleaning them today, just removing mold lines and burrs and stuff. But this thing is a blast. The Leviathan is my favorite model in 40K and 30K. It is one of my favorite pieces that they make. It is truly what a dreadnought is supposed to look like. It is a giant angry soda machine that's just going to come kill you. But this thing is a blast. So this is going to be for my loyalist warhounds. And because I'm doing my bases separate, I always try to build it because I want it to show some action. So you can't see it from this foot. Well, I guess you can a little bit because the back leg is tipped up. I have it stepping forward, so all of its weight is over the, looking at it this way, the left side leg. So it's stepping forward like it's about to lay something out by throwing a left cross. The whole model, I have it's pivoted at the waist slightly, it's pivoted at the torso slightly, his head is turned slightly, so everything is showing that like dynamic action emotion. But man, having to build it without having it on a base, I usually build everything from the ankles up so I can make that motion. And this time I had to build it in like 6 pieces and like hold it together and go, okay, it should be like that, because I can't glue it onto the base because I'm doing all the Mechanicus bases, the sector Mechanicus bases separate. So I was like, I can't put them on the base. So I built it like this and then took this photo for Dave. But man, I love this kit. It's awesome.
Excellent. I'm glad you're seeing progress because we've got 7 weeks now.
Yep. Yeah. No, I should be good. I'm going to try to finish getting everything built this week. Yep. So far I've got this built. I've got my commander built, which I'll send a photo for next week. I've got my commander built. I've got the 2 10-man tack squads built. I still have to build another half of the Rampager squad, and I get to build the 10 Mark III Marines you sent me, and then I just have to convert my 4 characters, and then it's been too cold, which is fine, so I'm going to build. But supposedly in like 10 days, we're supposed to have a stretch of days that are all like in the mid to high 40s, and I'm just going to prime everything when that happens, and then that'll give me about 4 weeks to get everything painted.
Cool. Excellent. Nice. So there we are. That's what we've all been doing. More Than Dice. Next up. So I was going to mention it before, and then I realized, I had the logo. So something that we can say as well, or we mentioned earlier, More Than Dice is Gonzo's podcast. You guys live stream as well on Sunday nights?
Yeah, there's a team of 3 of us, myself, Captain Mizzy, and Nerd. She runs her own channel, Nerd Holla, and every Sunday we do we do like a pre-ramble, a 30-minute to make sure everything's working. And we do our live episode, which is the whole thing's about an hour and a half to 2, depending on how things go. We do like a media section, but usually we talk about something that's happening, or we got Adepticon. We were talking about what we're going to do at Adepticon, what vendors we're looking, what things were going on, and I'll usually paint. And then on Wednesday night, it'll be me because I have to get hobbying done, and one of the other co-hosts, and we'll just for like a couple of hours just paint miniatures and hang out.
Excellent.
We are a network also where we host people's podcasts for them and help them get a broad reach, because More Than Dice Network is on every single streaming platform, and a bunch of them restreamed somewhere else that we don't know who and where they got it. But we also help other people get their podcast out.
Cool. Excellent. Jess says, what platform is it on? I have linked to link to this on Spotify. On Spotify? No, SoundCloud. Sorry. Down below. So
if you want to just listen just as straight, we do have a website where all of our podcasts of everybody's there and has links to all of their social medias. But we stream on Twitch on Sunday night.
Right. Twitch on Sunday night. Excellent. So Jez,
you can make us do stupid stuff.
Jez is in the UK, so at the moment it is 12:30 a.m. But he's usually up late and works in the film industry, film and TV industry. Fantastic. And Stephen has joined us. Stephen Ryder. Hey, everyone. Good to see you, Steve. Fantastic. So let's get in and start talking about Warmachine. You sent me a whole bunch of photos of your Warmachine models.
Yes.
And a bunch of photos from Warfaire Weekend. So I figure...
Is this a mix? Is this a mix of like older stuff and the new stuff, or like what do we got here?
This is all the new stuff. So I got a bunch of Warmachine Necrofactoriums. I wouldn't say early, but early enough. And so I qualified for the Iron Gauntlet at Warfare Weekend. And of course, you have to fully painted army. And I had gotten every bit of Necrofactorium I could and built out the largest lists I could and painted like the entire faction in like a week.
Nice.
Right.
type thing. So this is actually the Necrofactorium. This is the Brute Thralls. They took them away from as a attachment and made them their own unit. And so I wanted to give a little bit of pretty with a little bit of gross. So that's the reason why I got the pink flowers on there.
I like it.
Awesome.
This is the Necrofactorium Necro Harvester. This model is huge. It is one of their biggest models. It is it's about a foot tall.
Okay.
And I actually got this for content creation, and got the first one and painted it up as quickly as I could. Took pictures of it and then went home and painted it exactly. But pretty much what it does is it walks around the battlefield and collects corpses and sends out corpses as bombs. And so these corpses run out and blow up on people. I love this model. This model is creepy as hell and huge.
Yeah, it is massive.
The game seems like it's changed so much. So Dave and I both would have been at Games Workshop when it came out the first time. Because I remember the big coup is like Mike McVeigh from the Heavy Metal team like went and was like helping with their miniatures, and I want to say it was what 2004 I think it came out.
2003.
Okay. So yes, it was during third edition. I remember this coming out, and a bunch of us who worked for the company and friends of mine who didn't, we all got into it because I was like, oh, it's a skirmish game. And at the time, GW didn't really make skirmish games. I mean, Necromunda was still around and Mordheim was around, but like we wanted something kind of like weird, and like this was really fun. And I had a really small skirmish force for Mark 1, I guess. Technically, I mean, at that point it was just Warmachine, but now it would be Mark 1. And so it was like, I had like 2 Signar Warjacks and a Warcaster and a unit of Trenchers and like Boom Howler. And that was my whole army. And I was like, this is great. My whole army is like 2 big guys and like 8 little guys, and like that's it. And then we all played for a ton, and then Mark II came out and they wanted to make it bigger. And a lot of us were kind of like, I already play like a huge game. I don't know that I wanted. I really like that this is a skirmish game. So we played for a while. We were just playing really small games, I guess, technically. And then once they made it that like everything had to be a certain points and like it was way more competitive, by the end of Mark II, we had all kind of like bowed out. And then Mark III seemed like it was a whole other thing. And, it has its fans and it has people that don't like it. And I was just like, yeah, I'm all set. And then you had like, they tried to reboot everything. But then when we found out, so when Steamforged got it, we were really excited because Warmachine's kind of been limping along for a while over the last, I don't know, 5-10 years. So having them go to a company that kind of has the resources and has the drive to push this game and the bankroll to kind of see this thing through, we were all really excited, but also kind of like, what is this going to look like? Like, what are they going to want to do? Like, we didn't know what they had in mind. So
yeah, I started when the game first came out, when all we had was a battle box.
Yep.
It was a Warcaster and a couple of Jacks. That's all we had. And we were looking and excited for troops and solos because I was in the same boat you were. I was playing 40K, had 800 models, and I was like, ooh, something small I can quick and play, hour and a half and be done. And then of course it grew and exploded. And then it was like, now here's an army with 400. You've got like 60 models, and then it got really super competitive. Around Mark II, Mark III. And that had that up and down where you couldn't pre-measure in the game, and then when they went to pre-measuring, it all dropped off because it was like, oh, it's not competitive enough for me anymore. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna have to argue about anything on this. and it got really super competitive, and I think that did take a dive for them when they pushed a little bit more competitive. But then at the end of like Mark III, beginning of Mark IV. They started really getting into the narrative aspect of the game. And I wish I had it. I wish I was shown it. A couple of years ago, they had Blightergast, that dragon that was on the table. And the dragon it had its own crate. This thing was 3D printed. It was like 4 feet wide, 3 feet tall. I mean, it was huge. And it really opened up a lot of people's eyes on there's a better way, or I would say a better way. There's a different way to play this game besides competition.
Yeah.
And that's when it really started opening up, and people started going, when are you going to have a narrative event? When are you going to have a narrative event? And they're like, yeah, I mean, prime example. my one of my co-hosts, Captain Mizzy, she had a blimp, and she was like, "I'm gonna ram this dragon with my blimp. There's no rules for it. Nope, but go for it. We'll figure it out as we get there." She rammed the dragon with the blimp, and something happened in the game, and it affects the entire table, or something goes on, and I think that's when they started going with that, and they started doing these big narrative events and narrative stories. It's people are going, okay, I can get into this. I can buy a 50-point small army, 10, 20 models, and play some cool little fun pew pew, make noises with the game, and go for it. And I think that's where, kind of what we're headed at. Doesn't mean that their competitive side is still there, but it's not the narrative and silly play or, relaxed casual type stuff is not being ignored anymore.
Right. I think when Warmachine launched, there was the famous page 5 thing, which was the really drove it, put it in front of people who were like, oh, okay, this is for me because I have to beat somebody on the table to feel good about myself. That maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but the play like you've got a pair.
Oh yeah.
Line, which I know I found a little bit like, huh? What?
Yeah.
Why am I being challenged by this game?
Yeah.
So I should be welcomed by a game rather than, hey.
Yeah, the last thing I need from any game is what's up, nerd? It's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like, I need you to. You're at an 11. I need you at about a 5. Just let's step it back.
That slogan, they have dreaded that more than anything now as it's come out, because back then it was a whole different time period of Warmachine gaming and stuff like that. And then, as we progressed and got better and, so on and so forth, and the attitude has changed. But yeah, I remember page 5 because some people still go, I'm here to kick your shit in.
That is
nope.
He has it perfectly. He said page 5 attracted all the people we were glad quit 40K. It was one of the reasons that I pulled out of the game. 100%. Like I think that was one of the weirdest experiences I had when we were getting ready to open the store. This is before it opened. So this is probably like 2015, 2016. I walked into a store and there were a bunch of guys playing a game, and I was like, I don't recognize that game. So I walked over and I was like, those look like Warmachine models. But again, I never played Mark III. So I'm looking at it, and they're the two of them are like bickering, and like it did not seem like they were having fun. And there's like mouse pads all over the table, and like a zillion. It looked like somebody spilt a bag of Skittles. There's like little tokens everywhere. And I was like, I'm watching it, and we've played enough games that I'm like, okay, so obviously like the tokens I guess are like markers, but then they also have like condition things, and they're like hit points. And then I was like, this game is weird. You guys don't play with terrain? And they're like, oh, there's terrain all over the board. And I was like, where? And they're like, the mouse pads. And I was like, I don't understand. He goes, oh, it's all area terrain. And I was like, there's no line of sight terrain? And they're like, no, that's not how the game works. And I was like, so in my brain, I'm like, that's strike one. So like there's no real terrain on this. Like you have all these crazy models with no terrain. So then I was like, what are all the acrylics for? And he goes, oh, so like these are my condition markers, and like these are my hit point things, and these are the area effect, and then this guy has a thing that he can affect anything within X amount. So like there's all these little dots everywhere, and I was like, it literally looks like you guys spilled a bag of M&Ms on the table. Like that would drive me crazy. So I was like, okay, that's strike 2. And then I was like, what version are you playing? And they're like, Mark III. So I'm like, okay, cool. Is it cool if I watch? Like, yeah. So I'm watching them play, and again, they're like whinging about like measurements, and I think that guy's out of range, and the way I measured it is, but you only covered this one guy. And I was just like, holy God. So afterwards I was talking to them, and they were friends, and they're like, oh yeah, we played for a long time. And I was just like, that did not seem enjoyable. It would be like if Dave and I went to Adepticon and we're screaming at each other for 2 hours playing 40K. I'd be like, Dave, we don't need to do this. Like,
yeah, we got better things to do with
I was just like, what? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's that aspect. That aspect has been a detriment to a lot of people that come in and play the game, because you come in and you look at that, you're not enticed to come play that. You're not enticed by the flat 2D terrain. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're the mouse pad was great for tournament organizers and conventions because you didn't have to have it, but it is not appealing. But since I would say the Mark IV or new Warmachine has come out, the community as a whole has pretty much embraced the 3D terrain aspect and has pushed all of that. Now they usually put like a mouse pad underneath it, so in
Sure.
case they have to move it,
Yeah,
perfectly fine.
that makes sense. That's reasonable.
Yeah. And they did that. And I think I sent you some pictures of some of the terrain that I made, because I'm a big fan of 3D terrain. There is no way you can get someone today to come play a game by looking over at mouse pads.
I was like, if you're going to do this, like, why not just have mouse pad like versions of the models? Like, why are we like, what are you doing? Just flat pack all this shit. It should just be cardboard cutouts. Like, it drove me bananas. I was like, I can't do this.
And I hear that a lot. Last year when I was at Adepticon, they had a big narrative event with this big long wall of table, big castle wall and these big models and big 3D terrain. And people are like, what game is this? And I'm like, this is Warmachine. They're like, no, it's not. I'm looking for the mouse pads. And I'm like, this is new. This is, give it a chance. Everything's, building up, 3D terrain is in, making it look good. I mean, I've heard that many a times from other TOs, because I talk to a lot of different TOs that run different events, and they're like, what is this? Warmachine? No, it's not. I'm like, yeah, this is the Warmachine now. 3D terrain is in.
We just got to let everybody know that the old Warmachine has been dynamited. That doesn't exist anymore. Like, especially, like, I know people that are always like, I don't have time to paint terrain. And I get that. I'm like that for the most part. But I'm like, you've got, Monster Fight Club and Gale Force 9. There's so much great looking terrain out there that comes pre-built, pre-painted. You can just take it out of the box and it's ready to go on the table. You can add to it if you want, but that looks great for like stuff you can just literally pull out of a box.
Oh, and the amount of stuff you can 3D print now is outrageous.
You still got to paint that, but
no, you don't. If you have a 16 wheel
AMS. All right. So you heard it first, guys. Make sure you shop at Gonzo's, Uncle Gonzo's crazy warehouse of painted, pre-printed painted terrain. But yeah, I agree with all that. I do think you made a really good point though about bringing new players in. My buddy Fred is a longtime gamer, and I was asking him about it when I got back from that tournament. And the first thing he said was, he was like, it is not welcoming to new players. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, so you're going to show up and you're going to see two guys playing. And you're like, yeah, like, Dave, why don't you show up and bring your army? And then Dave shows up with like the 3 models that he bought that he thinks are cool, but he doesn't know the meta and he didn't research it online and he didn't figure out what the most kick-ass list is. And he shows up and you're like, sure, let me walk you through this. You're like, Dave, why don't you take the first turn? This is how movement works. And then this is how shooting works. Okay, I'll take my turn. And then you proceed to just pummel the new player. Like, you crush them utterly and like ruin their day. And then you're like, hey, do you want to play again? And Fred's like, no, I don't. Like, why would anybody come back? It doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, there has been and I've been trying to fight. I don't want to say fight this, but just try to push it through people. If your game doesn't grow, your game's going to die.
Yep.
Plain and simple. And pummeling a new player is not the way to do it. If you got someone that's brand new, help them. And if they, they're like, hey, I'm bringing this just because it's cool. Prime example, someone that I know is bringing a list that has 2, colossals in it and a very low point value just because it looks cool on the table and sounds fun. You know what? You don't have to bring your turn 2 win army tournament style thing. You could bring something silly too and just make pew pew noises and roll dice.
Yeah.
You can just have fun. And I mean, and that's what you have to do. You have to encourage people in. You have to bring people in. And I think with them doing more narrative stuff, prime example, this Adepticon coming up, all the narrative events sold out in seconds while the tournaments were still trying to fill up. So yeah,
narrative stuff's the best.
Just quickly, a bunch of stuff in the chat, but one of the things I'm going to pull out there is Jim said, let the Wookiee win. I'm going to challenge that for a second, in that if you are introducing somebody to a game, there's no need to let them win or to give them the easiest game possible. You got to judge the person, like, get an idea of what they're there for, ask them questions about what they're interested for that game.
He's just clowning around. He worked for me at Games Workshop. He knows how to run an intro game. Like, he knows the rules. Like,
I know. I just wanted to say it as a general thing.
Sure.
I'm passionate about is you want to provide a challenging game where somebody they learn, you help them through, but maybe they don't win. Maybe they come really close. So next time, but it's like saying, okay, if I'm going to go play golf against Tiger Woods, and I win,
yeah,
obviously somebody owed you a favor and talked Tiger into letting you win.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I don't know the names of any other golf players. So
one of the things that I did like that they brought in this edition is it's pretty much, in Warmachine, if you assassinate the Warcaster or Warlock, you win the game type thing. And they actually added a new scenario, and it's not played a lot, but this is really good for new players that only Warlocks and Warcasters can assassinate Warlocks and Warcasters. So if a random beast comes up and beats the crap out of your Warlock and kills it, it's technically not dead. It's wounded. It can get up and do things. It's got like a little bit of wound and has a little bit less damage to it and can't do as much, but you continue to play.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for like learning new players and teaching them and, type thing. But if you're going to curb stomp a noob, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, 100%.
That's just not fair.
It's like when I play Magic and like somebody will be like, "Oh, I think so and so's cheating," and I was like, "Listen, dude, if you're cheating, you need the win more than I do. Like, I don't know what your dad did to you, but I'm really sorry about it." You know what I mean? Like, it's like everybody's got their own thing that they're dealing with. When it comes to demo games, I agree with Dave. I always try to make sure that whoever my opponent is, that they're having a good time, and like, oh, your Space Marine jumps behind this thing, or your troll can like jumps behind a tree so he doesn't get killed. Like, as long as everybody feels like they're having a good time and they're enjoying it, that's fine. I will also say I've never thrown a game. I always try to win. And I had another manager. Dave will appreciate this. So John Washer is a buddy of ours, and he ran a store up when we worked for the company. And he was telling me this one time, this young kid had come in and he wanted to get into playing. So John was like, "Yeah, bring in your army and I'll match it." So the kid brought in his stuff, and I don't know, it was like 500 points or 600 points or something. So John makes an army, and they're playing, and John's like teaching him the rules and stuff. And his mom's like, "I'll be back. I'm gonna go get a drink." So she leaves, and John's like, "Okay, so you can do this." So John lets this kid win, and I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "I felt really good about it," but then the kid kept coming back, and he was bragging to everybody about how he beat the store manager. And I was like, "You never let one of the kids beat you." He's like, "You've never lost a game in the store?" And I was like, "Never." And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" Do the kids come in and it's like playing my dad in chess. I never beat him. I always wanted to play him. So the kids come back all the time. And they'd be like, "Can I play you?" "Yep. I want to challenge your Space Marines." We had those battle boards, which were cool, like the King of the Hill boards. And I was always at the top. People were like, "I'm going to challenge for the top." And I was like, "Who wants a shot at the champ?" But it was great. The kids always wanted to come back and play, and then they'd be like, "Oh, I almost got him. I need a way to kill his tank," and then they buy a dreadnought, and then like they'd be like, "Oh, his 2 dreadnoughts killed my dreadnought. I need a second dreadnought." Like, you were always trying to figure out like how do I get around this list? But it was fun. Clearly, they were engaged. They were having a good time. Everybody loved it. But that's what you want. You want to generate that excitement and that enthusiasm, regardless of the game. It doesn't matter what it is. You just want to have your players feel like they're having fun and they want to do more of the thing.
Oh yeah. So, prime example, I went to a 40K tournament, and I hadn't been to one in many, many years. I had just bought a bunch of models and some grade nights. I was like, they look cool, so on and so forth. And I come to the tournament and I put all my models down, and 10 minutes later I picked all my models up and walked out. Because I was like, yep, I'm not going to do tournaments anymore. And the guy's like, "But that's how the game's played." And I'm like, what game did you play? Because I didn't play a game at all. and that's the thing is you want to keep them engaged to doing things. And if you can look and you can see assassination right off the bat because you've got this great combo of 17 models, don't do it. Do something else. Let them get a chance to move around and do things and pull off like the 2-handed throws, or a throw or a slam, or knock things down. Teach them the fun aspects of it.
Yeah, Josh says you can win, but don't curb stomp them. Then give an after action report. Talk about the game afterwards. What went well? What didn't work? What were poor dice never going to help? Patrick says I only play narrative style games now. I may need to dig out some of my old Warmachine stuff again. I know there's a couple of Warcasters around here that I sculpted. Nice. Nice plug there, Patrick. And Scott says, "I'm learning Shatterpoint right now. Interestingly, it's just about impossible to actually kill or remove an enemy mini from the table."
Unless you're Darth Vader and you go against Anakin Skywalker, and Darth Vader's a
So
nerd.
I don't think it's necessarily it's not super hard to remove stuff, but that's not the point of the game. Like Shatterpoint is all about like taking objectives and completing narrative things to move the light side or the dark side towards you to win. So it's not really, everybody thinks it's Kill Team. It's not. It's a totally different game. It's all about like command and control. But
very thematic.
yeah, it's a really fun game. Like you can hear like the John Williams orchestra swells in the background every time you have one of your guys like do a Jedi move, or you have one of the one of the like Bo-Katan activate her jump pack and jump on top of a building. Like it's a really fun game. But yeah, but it's very different. It's not really about like KOing models. That's not how that game works. You definitely can, but
yeah, it's very thematic and pushing and pulling and moving around. And yeah, especially like you hit something, you got Ahsoka hits something, hits an ability, jumps down, and then runs back and then jumps over something else. And that's her one turn, and you've done like all this cool maneuvers.
Yeah. Ahsoka, I usually play Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and her Night Owls. Like that's almost always that's one half of the two sets that I run. So
yeah. Also, Sean Gleason said he got there one time on the top of that board.
Yeah, dude, that thing's the best. I think I'm gonna try to find mine. I think I took the one from Harvard when we closed. I'm gonna see if I can find it and put it up in the store. Like that, the challenge we had a Warhammer Fantasy one, and we had a 40K one, and I think at one point we had a Lord of the Rings one. But yeah, I think bringing those back it's just fun. It's a fun way to do it. You could be like, oh, I'm gonna challenge Gonzo. He's on the next level, and I'm gonna challenge him for that spot, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jim's comment here is because of the arms race that you described, Jake. So well, this explains all the preteens with Forge World models at the Natick Mall.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I definitely had my Space Marine army kill an armor cast warhound. So like I'm not sorry. It'll happen again.
Awesome.
Gonzo, I get a question for you about Warmachine. So
good, please.
So I haven't talked to I have a meeting with Fizz and Toby and all the guys and Joe and everybody at Gamma in a couple weeks, but this announcement happened before the sale, like before they got bought. So I'm hoping they're still going to do it. All the Signar Gravewalker stuff, I want all of that. I want all of that. I'm going to do that for sure.
Gravediggers is happening. So Gravediggers is still happening. That it's still in testing and still working on it. And I will tell you that one faction and that faction you just showed up really quickly is what getting everybody back into the game.
Yeah. Oh, the Gravediggers look amazing.
So this is the Brine Bloods. They're troll pirates. Okay, let's just go with that. Troll and pirate. That's enough. When I got so I do some testing for them, and I got the test document, and they said yes, there is a war beast that has a one-handed weapon and it says called Hammerhead Shark, and I go, if this model is not wielding an actual Hammerhead Shark and swinging it around, I need to talk to somebody because I'm suing. And of course, this troll war beast has an actual Hammerhead Shark in his hand, and he swings it around as a weapon.
Is he in the photos?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
This is the Brine Bloods, and this was what I painted up for Adepticon last year.
Okay.
And there is Magnus and Invictus in the back, and the blimps.
I thought that was Invictus. I was looking at this. I was like, that's not part of the Brine Bloods. I was like, oh, but I guess
he's a mercenary. Yes.
Yeah, they can be anybody.
Yeah, and there's a blimp, and they just run around the battlefield throwing bombs at people. They're very annoying, but they're so fun. And they're people will buy. I told them that when we saw the artwork and we got it and we started seeing all the models, I says you were gonna have people buy this army just for the models because they are so good and so cool, and they're so fun. They have, you have models that are stumbling drunk. You have models that can. When they got with me, they were like, "How does this feel?" And I was like, "You don't want to know rules?" I go, "No. How does it feel?" I go, I feel like a pirate with this army because my pirate can run up, hit you in the face with a sword, and then blow you away with a pistol. And if I hit you with a sword and I kill you, I can shoot someone else. And they're like, that's what we want. We want this to feel like a pirate.
They still have all the oh god, I'm trying to think of all the other factions. Was it the Satixis Raiders?
Well, there's two different. You have, the new factions, and you have what are legacy. And the legacy are all the factions that were made prior, and they've narrowed them down a bit. Doesn't mean your models aren't legal. It's just they've narrowed down the scope of what you could play in that.
Didn't they get rid of some stuff though? Like I remember when I first got into it, there was Signar, which I know is still around, and Khador, which is still around. But then there was also like the Protectorate of Menoth, which I don't think exists anymore.
Fluff wise, they went off to a different area of the continent, and we haven't heard from them since. Now you can. I'm gonna make the first one. You can play with every single one of your models in Warmachine on the Unlimited, which is a wild free for all your old Mark III stuff. Guns ablaze and go it. But the Prime Arena is the Mark III stuff has been narrowed down and focused with the stuff to make it with here and make it, I would say competitive, but that way it makes it easier to balance. Because if you look at that was another problem with the game, is there was so much model bloat. So many models.
Yeah, for sure.
And they narrowed the scope. But yeah, this is one of the pigs in his blimp, and he just runs around throwing bombs and can help out other people. I love this. I make stupid noises when I fly him.
Awesome.
This is Magnus's Invictus.
Invictus is the best.
This model, because you have to pay for Magnus and Invictus, they're together, and they're 50 points. So you're going to be, that's a big chunk of change, but he's a big beat stick.
What's a standard size game?
Well, it depends. A lot of people like to play narratives around 50 to 75, and the competitive at 75 to 100, with the Iron Gauntlet, which is the very top of it, as 100.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
But this was their first 80 millimeter model. I love this model. This is the first time, and I think it's interesting. I primed this black, and I airbrushed coal black over it, and it came that really interesting green on it.
Yeah, it looks like sea green.
Yeah, I was just their best paint.
Coal black.
Yeah, they're one of their best paints. That thing sells out every time they bring it.
That's the new Invictus, right? Because the old one is a lot smaller.
Oh, this is a brand new and everything, Invictus, and it's a big thing. The interesting part about this is since you have to bring Magnus and Invictus, Invictus can go out and do his things, and he works like a junior warcaster. But if you kill Magnus, that model goes inert and just stays, it goes away. So you have to be very careful and protect yourself.
Right. I'm a Dephead says, tell him about Shadow Victus.
Oh. I guess so. During the narrative event, I was playing with this list, and the only thing, my Invictus was just stationary on the board, and my Warcaster was the only model on the board. That's it. I had a Dead Jack and my Warcaster, which was the one that you got that you saw just a minute ago. Yeah. And I looked up the Private Press employee, and I was like, "Hey, I want to do something. Here's all the coins, and I'm going to do this that I want to do." And then she was like, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "I want to take my caster, rip out his heart, crush it, eat it, and swallow it, and have my soul injected into Invictus, and now become Shadow Invictus." And so my Warcaster infused himself into the Invictus model and went around stomping around and was an autonomous jack that walked around and beat things up. And at the very end, my job was to break down this gate. And they were like, we had like one round left, or, time was coming up, and they were like, "What are you going to do?" It goes, "I'm going to kill myself." And they're like, "What do you mean?" "I am going to run up and block off all the vents and everything inside of this thing and overdo the boiler to make it blast off like a rocket and shoot through the door." And they're like, "Done. Go for it. That's great. Awesome. Good job. Narrative all the way." And I'm like, that's what I want to play. I want to do stupid shit. And people were looking at me like, "How do you come up with it?" I'm like, "I've been GMing forever, so this is just what I do."
Excellent.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, the tapper. This one gives it's an attachment, and pretty much if he's on the board, he gives a bonus to hit, but it gives everybody stumbling drunk, and so they don't get knocked over. But yeah, I love this model. This model is great. It's very, very. It got a lot of character to it.
Yeah, you're gonna love the crab.
Yeah.
What material are the new kits made out of?
They're all so the most models are made out of resin, 3D printed. This one is a 3D printed resin. Then they did what was the 2-player starter set, which was the Khador and Signar, which is the start of the Gravediggers. And I can't remember what the other part of the K-Door is. And that's made out of HIPS plastic. Which we did a big shot of the sprue on our site, so you could see if you wanted to see what those look. But those are out on the market right now.
Okay, nice.
Excellent.
All right, so this is not actually a Warmachine Steamforged game model. So at Warfaire Weekend, there was always a
actually
big narrative
for a sec. Warfaire Weekend. What is Warfaire Weekend?
Warfaire Weekend was a convention that I started with another individual. It was back when Warmachine Weekend was around, and the individual, Carl, just couldn't do it anymore. He had other things going on. He asked if I would take it over, and I took it over with another person, and we had to reinvent it to Warfaire Weekend. The fair is spelled like a Renaissance fair because we wanted to add more games. While we love Warmachine, it just couldn't support a convention by itself. So we added other games. That's the logo.
Cool.
And so we created Warfare Weekend, where we added, Judgment, Age of Sigmar at one point, and still Age of Sigmar, but BattleTech, Infinity, MCP, and we just added different games to it and made it one big thing. For 1 year, the other individual I worked with it, they backed out. They were like, it's not really my thing, not going to do it. And so I got Lynn Stahl involved, which, if you know Lynn, that does Metalhead Minis, as a vice president. And we built it from there, and I turned it into a nonprofit organization. And everything is nonprofit. Everybody that works there are complete volunteers. Nobody takes a paycheck, even after creating the board and putting all the positions in. No one takes a single dime in their pocket. And last year I retired as president. For 1 year, I gave them, I would help you make sure that everything's done, give you, here's who you need to contact, just to, to help them out. And then I fully retired at the end of last year. But at the very end, this was when Steamforged Game had bought the rights and everything, and they wanted us to do stuff, but they didn't have a narrative event. So I got my friend Josh Tapina to help me work on a narrative event, and it was all his event, all his doing. I just kind of helped guide it, say, yeah, this would sound good, add this, add that. And he was like, I want to do this large narrative event where you've got 4 tables, 2 on each side, and then a large table where 4 players playing at once, but I want them to do something in the center of it, like control a tower or do stuff. And so I 3D printed these. 3D printed these up, put an LED light in them, airbrushed it up and put it on there.
I think I've been this in here. There we go.
Yeah, I turned off all the lights inside of the convention center and turned it on and put it on there. Awesome. And just like, yeah, this thing, I actually gave all of them away too. At the end of it, I gave, at the end of the narrative event, I took and had everybody roll a die, and the 4 lowest die got to take one home.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
That was just one of my things. I was like, I'm not going to take them. I have no need for them. And it's just something to give back to the community.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
But these are the tables that I 3D printed. Everything on here is 100% 3D printed. And I cannot remember, I'm sure somebody in the chat will remind me who this artist is that does this stuff, but it is 100% 3D printed. I scaled it down just a little bit and added a bunch of different things. They do have rules for terrain now and scattered terrain, which I think is really good. They want you playing with about 12 to 14 pieces of terrain on a board, and then scatter terrain throughout. So it, on a block. So it's like the little obelisks were scattered terrain that actually did something in the game narrative wise.
Right.
Yeah, those things right there.
Cool.
All 3D printed, all painted by me. A little bit of help from some locals.
And I am Dephead says RM Printables.
RM Printables, thank you. Yes, they make great terrain for miniature gaming.
Yeah, it does look cool there. And Mats by Mars.
These are Mats by Mars mats. He actually has a lot of the mats at Warfare Weekend. A lot of the mats are his that were there, but yeah, all Mats by Mars. on most of the stuff. The tournament tables are privateer presses type mats, but a lot of them. I love this table. My lava table. I love that table. That was a lot of fun to paint and print. And I've been learning how to do stuff because I'm just an average Joe. I just have a 3D printer, but I like pretty tables because it is so much more engaging. You get so many people just are so much into it. I had a tournament player go, I would never play on this table because I can't stand on these hills aren't there. And I'm like, okay, there's the table over there. Go play over there.
Right.
Like this is meant because all my players that played on this, they were like, this was cool as shit. I like this. This was fun. I was like, what about the spikes on like these? I'm like, I don't care. I'll walk around them, or I'll put something there to hold them up. This is fun and engaging.
Yeah,
that's what games are supposed to be.
Yes, 100%.
Yep, absolutely. So it does. It does my heart like well to know that both the narrative gaming aspect and the like 3-dimensional terrain are returning, I guess.
Yeah, so a lot of people
just returning in there, but it is good to know.
And a lot of stuff, even the really big competitive players, a lot of them are embracing it because, like the WTC 3D terrain. And some people take, like I said, they put a mat down and put the terrain on top of it in case it has to move for whatever reason. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people, I mean, and a lot of people are embracing it. I know a lot of the major tournaments, LVO, Tyson has done all of the 3D terrain. Warfaire Weekend 3D terrain. Boker Brawl is 3D terrain. Adepticon 3D terrain. And this is more engaging to play on. Absolutely. And it is more eye-catching, and people get into this more than anything.
Yeah, it sets the scene.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
You know what you're playing on. This is a lava field.
Yeah.
Yeah. These trees right here, I had this really spooky. I didn't get the mat for it in enough time, but I have a mat that has like spider webs and spiders, and it's like a Halloween spooky theme. But these trees, I took and actually elongated them in the printer.
Okay.
So they printed up really, 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 really tall. But this was just another one. And then of course, eventually you'll see at the Orgoth Temple that Josh DePina built in like 5 days or something, and then had it shipped to Warfare Weekend.
Excellent. What sort of size game is this?
These were 75 points, and on this one, this was the 2v2 table. So there were two 75-point armies playing on it at once, competing and fighting over this giant temple.
Right. Fantastic. It's as we talked about it, like this is a kind of a far cry from what we would expect to see on a Warmachine table like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, you would never. If you would have put this on the table 5 or 6 years ago, no one would have played on it.
Yeah,
there was at one point, Privateer Press sent us all their narrative and 3D tables that they used for filming and stuff like that, and we had them all along table, and they were like, "Please play on this." Not a single person touched it, and I was like, "Man, that was such a waste."
So depressing. Yeah, a lot of those were those like the Rob Hawkins tables.
I'm not sure who did it, but it was all they brought them all. They had this 2 huge crates of all their 3D sculpted tables, and nobody wanted to play on them.
No, I remember a lot of those tables from different shows. They were great. Awesome. There we go.
Yeah. So this was the temple that they were fighting control over, and like the guys on the back, it was a sheer wall, but they could spend points to get ladders to climb up it and get up to the top quicker. Because if you got on the top, you controlled it and got more abilities and things that happened in the game. Like I think at one point you could spend so many coins, and every tower, everybody within a certain radius took a damage roll, good or bad. It didn't matter. I know one person took the new Kador little tank and charged down the steps. And he says, "I don't want to damage anybody. I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to push everybody off the steps." And he's like, "Okay, whatever distance you could make." And I think that's up there right now. And he did knock some people off, But you know, that was the fun of it. He's like, I just want to clear people off the steps. Great, let's do it. That makes the game fun.
There are a couple of times you mentioned it now. I'm going to ask because I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Are you talking about spending coins?
So in the game, when you completed things during it, we had a big sheet that was written up. You would earn coins, like you controlled objectives, like those obelisks that I had. If you had a model in the center of that, you earned coins.
Okay.
And if you controlled things, you earned these coins. Well, those coins got put to the commander that was playing on this large table, and that commander had the ability to spend those coins to do certain things in the game.
Okay, cool. So it was it's like specific to Warfare Weekend.
Correct. 100%. This was
laid over the top of everything.
Yeah, this was 100% fan made and 100% all Josh Sapina. He would call me up and be like, how does this work mechanically? And I'm like, okay, let me think about this. Yes, this can happen, but we need to make this rule because someone could break it this way. Or, you know, there's a rule that would affect it type thing. And this is actually, it was a brainchild from what they did at Adepticon, because at Adepticon they did the same thing, where if you controlled things, you earned coins and they were put in a basket and the leaders could spend it, or people on the end could spend it for whatever they needed.
Okay.
To do different things. And you would spend it to do narrative events. Like when I ripped out the heart of my Warcaster, I spent coins just to, because it was just, it's narrative. Who cares?
Right.
Are you making a cool story?
Yeah.
That's all we care about.
Building the story. Yeah. Yep. Excellent. Cool. Thanks for that. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. The new king. This is the new Brine Blood's Colossal. And yeah, this model, when they showed the model finally off, we were like, yes. And this is a friend of mine, Cliff Klein. He put Fred Flintstone on it.
Flintstone in there. I feel like that's either rampant IP infringement or that was an add-on. That's a custom job.
Yeah, it was a custom job. He did it for fun. He's been a troll player forever, and when Brine Bloods came out, he was like, I'm gonna do this, and people were painting these up. My co-worker or my co-host Mizzy, she was painting hers up frantically so she could have it painted up for the event, because they came out right before Warfare Weekend, and so everybody was scrambling to get all their stuff painted and have it ready, which I've seen, since we've been doing 3D terrain, that people have been painting their armies up without having it being a requirement for the event.
Right.
I still think the craziest model in this entire range that I've ever seen is that it's the back half of a pirate ship.
Oh, the Denegra something. I can't remember which Denegra one, but yeah, it's one of the Denegra, like Denegra 4 or something.
It is insane. It literally looks like someone took a, like the Black Pearl and cut it into thirds and kept the back third.
Yeah,
right.
Because it's the deck and then the aft poop deck and then the pilot's deck with like the whole, like, so when you turn it around, it's the back of a ship. And when you turn it this way, you're seeing the cross section of the ship with all the decks. It's bonkers.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get now. So if you can ever find one, grab it, because they don't make them anymore.
Deck, didn't you, Jake?
No, not really. That's the proper term for the what you're getting. It's because at first I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this must be like two pieces that you like put together to make the boat. And then I was like, oh, it's not enough. Like it would be three pieces at least. And then somebody's like, no, this just represents the ship. I was like, but it's huge. It literally is a third of a pirate ship.
Yeah, I mean, I have my Abyssal King that I'm working on.
Yep.
That's how big this thing is.
Yeah, the pirate ship is like 4 times that size.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let's switch you around. There we go.
Yeah. It's about the same size as like the big knight.
And this is 3D printed.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, this thing is amazing, and it's got some of the coolest rules and some of the stuff, and works really well with a lot of different things. It's an amazing sculpt and an amazing model. The one thing that like I said, is the Brine Bloods. It's a fun army to play. It's competitive if you want to take it competitive, but it's got so many cool, fun shenanigan stuff like throwing barrels, shooting with cannons. It's a blast.
Excellent.
Great model.
That's cool. I was like, again, another thing. I mean, there are some of the
Correct.
Or is this a forest here?
Yeah, so this was a forest that we'd already taken the trees off of.
Right. Yeah. So
just to put the models on.
A forest base that,
yeah,
again, something that you would see on a Warhammer or 40K table or what have you.
This was at the Iron Gauntlet. This is my I decided to go all out on a Crix list, and I think this is where I told I was like, this is going to be a spam list. All these thralls, I think I have 7 units of the thralls, and so it was just a swarm of army, and it was just undead after undead after undead after undead, and the guy was just chewing through things, and he's like, there's so much, and I'm like, yep, and they all have tough, and they all can come back, and I can bring back 12 models a turn.
Oh geez.
Yeah, it's just nothing but a dude spam.
Right.
But it was just a good fun game.
Right. Cool.
When I play tournament, I live by the philosophy that I will be strict with myself, but if my opponent, if I tell him something like, oh, I meant to attack this guy, yeah, you told me you were going to attack that guy, just attack that guy, I don't care.
Yeah,
no big deal.
Well, it would make total sense that you were going to do that, so I should just do that. Hey, don't forget to attack this guy.
Yeah, like, hey, you forgot to roll this ability, because you would have done this if you would have remembered, because you're too nervous. I've actually stopped players, put it on my clock, and said, hey, I look at them and like, you're really nervous right now. Take a breather. Take it on my clock. I'm not here. I don't care. You can put it on my clock. Take a breather. Just sit back and relax. What's your favorite part? What are you trying to do?
There are clocks.
So the competitive version of Warmachine is played on death clocks. And 100 points, you get 60 minutes. It's to make sure that the game keeps going and make sure that nobody's stalling for time.
You can't slow play.
Yeah, so you can't slow play.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, this was another tournament game with the 3D terrain, which I have to say that my friend Captain Mizzy and Erica, pretty much I broke all their dry brushes because I gave them everything I printed. I gave it to them and just run it to their house and go, here, dry brush this, here, dry brush this. And it's roughly about 100 tables worth of terrain that they painted and dry brushed up just to get everything going.
Oh my God. That's wild. But again, great to see.
That Cotter Colossal is awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
good.
that's actually a Mark III army.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Nice. Nope. Is that?
Oh no. That's a Mark II. That's a Mark IV army. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
There's another one that's the narrative table.
Yep.
And they've got a model inside the obelisk. They were gaining points. And somebody took the colossal and put it on a crater.
Yep. You see it standing there. Nice. The dry brushing on these obelisks is just nice and crisp.
Oh yeah. I don't remember where I found those. I found them online, and I find 99% of my stuff for free for small stuff like that, and printed up 3D. And I'm sort of like spray paint, dry brush, and then I did the airbrush on the runes. But that's quick and easy. You just white and then lettering, green over it, and you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Excellent. What do we got?
Oh yeah, here's someone playing with Mark III Circle of Ouroboros.
Okay. Cool. That's kind of scary. I was going to say, are these the Ouroboros guys?
Yeah. Yeah. There was.
So do they? You say Mark III was the list from a Mark?
It is a prime version, but they're using the old the legacy armies, which is the legacy Circle of Ouroboros.
Radio.
So.
Okay. Excellent. But yeah, these I do like the look of these models. These Ouroboros models. Big
got some
with runes carved in.
Yeah.
Always looks good. Carl has just joined us and he says, wait, is that Warmachine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Check the title of the show. Welcome, Carl. Welcome. Excellent. Nice. Cool. And there we go. So that was the final shot that we have.
Yeah, and like I said, there's people that are also. I mean, I think, and some people are worried that the Mark III armies will get overshadowed and overbeaten by the Mark IV armies. And now I say the new stuff, new Krix, new Khador, Orgoth, and all that stuff. And in a competitive nature, that's already been proven wrong. Some of the top competitive players have been playing the old stuff. So that was a complaint I heard, and I'm like, it's completely untrue. Your old stuff is still good, still competitive, still fun to play with. Go play it.
Yep.
I mean, nobody's stopping you from playing your game the way you want to play. If you and your buddy say, "Hey," I mean, we had one guys. The narrative event was over, and they were like, "Can we just play on this table for fun?" I'm like, "Go right ahead,
Please.
please play on it." And they were playing a 200-point battle.
Wow.
And I'm like, I walked over and I'm like, "How many points are y'all playing?" And they're like, "We're doing 200." And I'm like, "Awesome." And then some of the people came over and was watching it, and I was like, "That's the point, guys. I mean, we're pushing little dollies around and making pew pew noises and doing cool little things. Go have fun with it. It's your game. Go play it the way you want."
Yeah, that's great. Very cool. So, obviously, we talked about some of the early days, some of the things that both myself and Jake and some of the folks in the chat sort of found strange or unapproachable, that kind of thing, or slightly off-putting. Some things that developed through the additions, such as like the movement to like the two-dimensional terrain, that kind of thing. And we talked about the move, the more recent move back towards a narrative approach and 3D terrain. We've had a look at Warfaire Weekend and things so all these photos were from last year's Warfaire Weekend, beginning of November, right?
Yes, Warfaire Weekend is usually the first or second weekend of November, depending on how the month falls.
Cool.
And I want to touch on something that people that we all remember the super competitive days. Jake has touched on it. You've touched on it. We've all touched on it.
Yep.
You need to find your people. If your group of people that are at their store are all super hyper competitive and they're not going to budge from that, go find someone else, because there are people out there that will play this game in a fun narrative or relaxed manner, because all they do is I like the rules, I like the models, I just want to play a game. Go find them. They're out there. I mean, Discord, the guys at Tried and True actually have a web page where you can input your city, and it's got a pinpoint where your nearest places to play, where everybody can find you can find a player. But there is a lot more people that want to play just for fun than what you see at a convention. Sure. And with them pushing more narrative play, more narrative games, I mean, those things were selling out. At Warfare Weekend, all the narrative events sold out in seconds, while the competitive, there was still spots open and still ready to go. And I mean, and it goes to show, these last like year and a half, 2 years, people want to just play games.
Right.
They run and roll dice. They want to make pew pew noises, and they just want to have fun.
Yeah. Cool.
Especially all expensive stuff is getting nowadays.
So, where do you see? So now, Steamforged have the or now own the properties.
Yep.
And are preparing to be releasing some stuff.
Yes.
Where do you see things going?
So
what's your educated guess?
Educated guess. Well, we do have a new keynote. So if you're not going to Adepticon, you're going to miss out on the keynote. They're going to be doing a keynote, which I'm really looking forward to. Bought a ticket to it so I can go see. Warmachine has been my game since it came out. I have played it nonstop. I picked up other stuff. I still play other stuff, but I always come back to Warmachine. And the community has been really, really good. We got a new keynote. We know we got Gravediggers coming out. We know we have new cadres coming out, we have new factions coming out. I think they're going to get a little bit more. There's the narrative event. They teased us that it's going to actually be around gravediggers. And gravediggers, I will tell you right now, while my friend Mizzy has claimed it as her army, I will be taking that and playing with it, whether she likes it or not.
That part of my conversation I have set up with the guys is to see if I can get an early copy of it. So,
the model, I think it's Plugger, and it's the Jack with 2 Gatling guns and carrying 2 trench knives. I'm in.
Awesome. Like they were like, how do we make a Warjack look like it's a Black Ops guy?
Yeah.
Right.
And because we got gravediggers, when this comes out, I do not know. But we have gravediggers, which is a lot of people are in on that just from the art and the sculpt. Then you got different factions and expanding on things. And I think you're going to, so things that come up is Lock and Load is back. People don't know Lock and Load is the official convention for Warmachine. And just to clear something else up, Hordes is still there. They just combined it all under one name. I do see a lot of people go, what happened to Hordes? It's just all Warmachine now.
Yeah.
So
essentially it was always the same game.
Yes.
Slightly different names on the same mechanics.
Yeah. It's like Warmachine and Hordes, and they just combined it into Warmachine.
Yeah.
But this year they're doing Lock and Load, and Lock and Load is actually going to be at Warfare Weekend this year. So you would buy a badge and you would get into Lock and Load and do other Warmachine and other things at Warfare Weekend. I don't know how they're setting that up. I'm out of that now, but it will be at Warfare Weekend, where they'll be setting up all the things. They'll still have the competitive things like, the Iron Gauntlet and Last Chance Qualifier, but they're going to have narrative events. You're going to see people playing games just for fun. They're bringing back the Iron Arena, which, if nobody's played that, pretty much you play pickup games.
Okay.
And depending on how many points you play and who you play, you can earn points. And those points you could turn in at the desk to get prizes, like posters or miniatures, or like people are getting the 2-player starter set. They were like, I've gotten that many points, I want the 2-player starter set. And they're like, you've got it, it's yours, that type of thing. And earning things for playing the game and just playing games.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very good thing, because nothing is more disheartening from a TO to see empty tables in the middle of the convention.
Yeah.
But people pick up games. I think you're going to see a ton of new art. I think you're going to see a ton of new models. They've already started teasing like silhouettes of models up on there, on things that are coming up, which you'll see. They've teased different things for different factions. I'm going through my brain to see what they've actually teased without getting in trouble. But there's a lot of stuff coming. They're working very hard. The testing teams are working hard. They just released the Steamroller packet, which is their tournament packet, and did shape up and change a few things. They now require, we all like to see pretty models on the table. We all like to do it, as part of the game. Some people don't have enough time to play, to paint, but they did make it that if you're playing in an Iron Gauntlet qualifying event, you must be fully painted. And I've seen some people get upset about that. And I'm like, all the other games do that.
Yep.
GW.
Yeah, 100%.
Judgment.
There was always this. Sorry, I guess I muted myself. There was always this weird disconnect with Warmachine for a while, where that was always the game that very rarely did I see fully painted armies, and I always thought it was really weird. And it's because, these are a bunch of tryhards that are trying to play competitive. So the hobbying aspect is not why they're in this game. They're here to curb stomp and burn bridges. That's what they're here for. So
yeah.
I appreciate that by encouraging people. And again, even if you're a GW guy and you're playing in a Warhammer tournament or an Atomic Mass tournament, usually it's 3 colors. You have to have 3 colors on a model. So it's you don't have to be, the next James Wapple or Roman Lepat. You just have to have it on the table with some paint on it. So I'm a fan of that. I think encouraging people to do that is the right thing to do. Plus, it's if you're serious about playing this game and you like playing this game, it encourages you to work on your army.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, yes, it is all the qualifying events and the actual top one, but if you want to be this top tier player, or, win that trophy and all that other stuff, you got to put some effort into it. And if you want to get into that, go for it. I mean, we're all super busy and stuff, but man, I've made up some of the shittiest, stupidest, easiest paint schemes. I mean, my Grimkin army was black, dry brush dark gray, dry brush white, dry brush another white, and then I took airbrush and airbrushed the eyes so they glowed, and my entire army was ghosted, and it was very themed, and it looked good, but I got it done, and it was on the table.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I think you're going to see a lot more narrative stuff, which I think is great, especially at conventions. I think you're going to see a lot more demo stuff at conventions, and they're really, really behind this. I mean, they wouldn't have bought this product if they were just going to dump it.
Sure.
Well, Matt, I know that Matt, who's the owner at Steamforged, or the co-owner at Steamforged, I know that he's a huge Warmachine guy. I know that. Like his first game was Warmachine. He's always had like a soft spot, and when this opportunity came up, they were like 100% we'll do that. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think we're going to see a lot of good stuff this year. Adepticon's kind of like the second chapter, right? Because they already did the launch, so it'll be kind of the unveiling of like what's coming, and they'll go over their roadmap and stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think I can't wait to get on the table. I booked 2 narrative events. That's the reason I was like, I'm playing the narrative event twice. I'm taking 2 different lists because I want to play this list and then play this list. I booked the narrative, the keynote, which I want to see because I want to know what's coming out. I want to see, if they've got like a timeline of where things are coming. So, I want to see it. I want to see it flourish. I want to see new blood into the game more than anything. I want to see new blood. And that's what we've got to do. When you've got, small starter sets, the cadres are great to get into because the cadres are, you got one, you buy it and you're done because they're all characters, so you don't have to spend more money. And then you can buy a sampling to get in that gets you up to like 50 points. And then you can buy something else. And then you can buy individual units to, flesh out and make your army you. But I think that's what's really going to go is getting into it cheaply with a few models and then building up from there. I know that they're working on what's called a journeyman league again. It's like a slow grow league, which is good because that'll help out, new players. I know that they started doing, you buy a cadre and then you paint it up Adepticon and then you play with it, in a tournament style format type thing. And that's the thing is we've got to get, and this isn't just, Warmachine, this is miniature gaming period. You've got to get people into your game because if it's just you and your buddy, they're not going to make new models. They're not going to, make new stuff if you're just you and your buddy. Everything's you got to infuse new life. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to all the cool stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to the keynote to see where we're going to be in, like, hopefully they're going to give us like a year projection type thing. So, and sculpts, because, oh man, the sculpts have been so good. Sculpts have been just super good.
Excellent. Well, that's cool. I'm glad things sound very positive. Which is, I must admit, I was a little bit worried. I didn't know where this last part would go, and I'm glad that it's gone this direction.
Well, I mean, just the interesting.
I know lots of people who do, and that's
well, the interesting part that we didn't really touch on it is how they changed the rules up to make it a lot more friendly. So I had a friend of mine join in Mark III, and she couldn't play because it was move one model, move one model, move one model, and you had facing, and you had to make sure you're turned the right way, and it was all super hardcore tactical. And now with the new rules where you just pick up one model and then place everybody around it, sort of like Star Wars Legion and stuff like that, and pre-measuring, everything's in there, and facing is gone, and all this stuff. It's made it very new player friendly. Right. And you can play a 50-point game and not be brain overtaxed as you're playing. And I think that's also been a very good aspect of it, is the entry level of new players is really, settled down into it. You're not bringing trigonometry into it and calculus to figure out your percentage chance to assassinate someone with 3% chance on a die roll type thing anymore.
Fantastic. That's good. It's good. Awesome.
Hey, Gonzo, you want to stick around and check out some models from our community page?
Oh yeah. Let's do it. I got nothing else to do. I got my water.
Awesome. Cool. Fantastic. Let me get the next one.
Josh posted lots of good info came out about Monster Apocalypse 2. Matt mentioned some things. Josh, when I see you at Adepticon, remind me. I have a awesome story for you about Monster Apocalypse.
Excellent. Okay.
Alan Borthwick working on more dudes for his Stargrave.
Oh no, this is Carnivale.
Okay, nice.
Or Carnival. But just quickly, I was going to say, all of the models that we're about to see are from our Facebook group, Build Paint Play Community. Jump on, if you're on Facebook, jump on the group and check it out. Usually there are more photos in the posts, so if you want to see some expanded info there. But yeah, so yeah, this one's from Carnivale. It's pretty cool model.
That is pretty neat.
It is wild. But I love the work that Alan's done on the purple there.
Yeah.
Very.
The water is great too. It's believable. It reads as water.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely.
And the little bits in it.
Yeah. Yeah, little debris floating through there. But yeah, it looks really nice. Excellent work there, Alan. Looks great. Next one's from Alan as well. So this is I think Tiger Claw gang for Cyberpunk Red.
Yeah, the girl with the sticks through her hair is the giveaway. They go like, oh, this is the Tiger Claw.
In the middle here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love the purple.
I really like the guys on the ends, the gang members with the Oni masks and the baseball hats. Like those are awesome.
Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah, those are really neat.
They do look great. Nice work, Alan. Very cool. Chris Gorka.
Nice.
Death marks for his for Necrons. Looking very cool there, and I love a little bit of the magenta and teal on the base.
You can always tell a good paint set when they have a good teal.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I always thought it's hilarious that these guys are snipers, and I'm like, but they only have one eye. And everybody's like, well, you only use one eye when you're using a sniper. I was like, yeah, but they have no depth perception. So
who cares when you have technology?
Yeah, it's a technology eye.
Oh, right on. Little Judas Priest, electric eye.
But yeah, Steven's right there. Nice pop all around. Looking very good, Chris. Nice one. Chris Kemig.
Yeah. Chris
has almost finished his Dark Mechanicum minis for Adepticon.
Dude, I love the Thanatar in the background. That model is just so rad.
Yeah, it is awesome. It's wonderfully nice and solid. I haven't assembled my plastic one yet. But I have a resin one from back in the day. But yeah, it's just a gorgeous model. And I'm loving that his sort of tech priest down here has the
the snake body.
Yeah, is that the from the wraiths from the Necron?
I don't know.
But it does look cool. Nice work there, Chris. Very good. Dave Hummel. Now, Dave Hummel said that he's working on these second company veterans.
Okay.
I think his his veteran company, the first company is all Terminators.
Right on.
So his second company might also be veterans. You can let us know in the chat, but might also be veterans, but power armored veterans. Is that right, Dave? But yeah, looking good. I'm liking the bone trim on the shoulder pads.
It's a great paint scheme.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it stands out enough.
Yeah. Nice one. Excellent. Jeff Smith.
Nice. Yeah, this one was great.
Shared this as a work in progress. Did we post this as a work in progress last week?
Yeah.
But yeah, finished now with his tufts on there. But yeah,
and his frost axe. I imagine him yelling out something like "Crom" and then like charging into battle on his bike.
Quite possibly.
That's cool.
We also shared a couple other photos, including this view from the other side. Looking really good. I like that he's got the dust that's been thrown up on the swing arm here.
Those little bitty things like that make a miniature pop so well.
Yeah.
Just that little bitty thing just makes it go, oh, I can tell this guy's been driving through the dirt.
Jeff loves a good tactical rock too. So
It does.
a good old tactical.
Yeah, looking great. And the addition of the little wolf skull at the top.
Yeah, this whole model is great.
It's nice. Excellent work, Jeff. Jez. So Jez isn't on Facebook. He sent me these through Instagram. So, but yeah, he's been painting up these. These are from North Star, and Jez will let us know. I can't remember the name of the group.
Very cool.
Yeah, I do know that the backdrop that he's got there is from the John Hodgson backdrop books. My copies of those books arrived last week, so I'm pretty excited to get those out and start taking some photos with those backdrops. But
those are super cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Underneath.
But oh no, he's there. Maybe we've got a bit of a lag there in the chat.
What's interesting is the goblin faces, or whatever they are. Their faces are very expressive.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, like on the second picture, the sword and shield.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see a grimace type thing.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say red caps, and they are there.
Right. Well, they might be.
They are. Jez just posted and said they're red caps. They're murderous goblins of the Scottish borders that dye their hats in blood.
Fantastic. I'm just going to mute myself for a sec. If I can get the right.
Almost. There we go. Oh man, these are great. Yeah, the guy on the left is like Ozzy Osbourne with his two dudes. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Those models are really cool though.
I've never seen them before, so I was like,
Jez, who sculpted these? You said North Star?
Yes. Yeah, Jez said these are from North Star Miniatures.
Right on.
Looking very, very cool. Sorry about that. Not sure what went on. But oh, sorry, this direction. And Jez also sent this one through. He said there was his only holiday miniature for last year.
That's like off-brand Red Gobbo.
Yeah. Yep. So the Santa Goblin, and that's from Midlam Miniatures, like
nice.
Bedlam but mid. So, but yeah, looking very cool there.
The snowman's a nice touch too.
It's great, isn't it? But yeah, nice work, Jez. Very cool. I love the photography style as well. Great. John Steining. John Steining painted up this LaHaye Saint.
We're doing a little rogue trader battle at the farm. Are we gonna
possibly? But no. So LaHaye Saint is one of the major pivot points on the battlefield for the Battle of Waterloo. Mm-hmm. This one, like LaHaye Saint, is right in the sort of in the center of the French line. Actually, it's actually still a working farm today. You can't go inside it, but you can walk around the walls. But he said the one that Warlord sells, which is the one on the left, is 15 millimeter sort of scale, but their epic battles are more like 13 millimeter scale. So he printed one out just a bit smaller, which made him think, maybe I should do like a 6 mil one as well. Which is the danger with Napoleonics, because there's so many different scales that you can do it all at.
True.
But yeah, so this is all part of his Napoleonic project. But looking good there, John. Very nice. Excellent. Jonathan Palermo showing some terrain off as well.
Woohoo! 3D terrain.
Yeah, yay! But yeah, this looks absolutely awesome. Very nice.
That's one of the GW kits.
Yeah, is it Sector Imperialis or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I can't remember, but yeah, he's done some really nice work on there. The geez, whenever I move the mouse, the eagles picked out in gold in the corner.
Yeah.
The
Dirt the bottom.
fun. The dirt at the
dirt.
bottom. Yeah.
The bottom. Yep.
I still think one of my favorite pieces of terrain from all time is going to be when Jason Buyaki and Chad Mirzwa sent out the ones that the studio did that were it was like corner of a chapel, and they put in the little. There was like a piece of plastic that was painted like stained glass.
Right.
Like that was incredible. Like that was one of the coolest pieces of terrain ever.
Yeah.
And all of these kits are 100% reminiscent of that. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. But looking great there, Jonathan. I know he's got a lot more that he's working on as well. Very nice. Speaking of working on terrain, Luis Sanchez has almost finished up this guy. So he's almost finished the Phobos squad.
Yeah, he's got some terrain too.
Yep, looking very cool there.
These look awesome.
Yep, I love the
all buttons.
Yeah, all the buttons for sure, and the I think I didn't quite zoom in enough, but there's little sort of arcs across that display.
Oh, like a radar.
Oh,
yeah, so you can sort of see how far the incoming enemy are away
that's
from it.
That's his 40K Pip Boy.
Yeah.
You know that thing has like 8-bit music that it plays.
Maybe, but no, it looks great there, and I love the work that you've done on the scars.
Yep,
there.
good paint scheme.
Yeah, nice and subtle. But yeah, looking great, Luis.
Those are awesome.
And Luis is also working on some terrain.
That is a whole lot.
Yep. So I think this is part of the Sector Mechanicus. No, not quite Sector Mechanicus. It's a different set, but
those look like 3D prints to me. But
no, these are there was a set that they. Oh, you could be right. You could be right. This one in the center, but I think these ones here are GW kits, but they're just a little bit. The walls are a little bit thinner. They did them for one of the Kill Team sets, I think.
All right, you put in time and effort into terrain. When you get that on the table, it just feels so good to play on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the Kill Team terrain.
Yep. But no.
Oh, right, because he bought that's the Kill Team core box. It's not the.
Oh, okay.
It's not the season box with the Hivestorm stuff. It's the.
There we go.
It's the Volcus set.
Volcus set, right? Yeah. But no, nice one. We're looking forward to seeing how you paint these, not in sub-assemblies. That'll be good. I know you'll be great. You whip out those airbrushes and have a lot of fun. Oh, and I just noticed our BuildPaintPlay sticker over in the corner.
Yep, nice.
Where is it?
Promotion.
Yay! Cool. Mick Palazzi posted up some stuff. Mick is working on. He's getting a head start on his Emperor's Children.
Yep.
And he's done some really nice stuff here. So loads of great conversions for his Terminators. There's Terminators through there, and this is his Master of Executions. And he's done some nice additional bits and pieces in there. A lot of pieces to give a very Slanesh flair. But yeah, looking really nice, Mick. We're looking forward to seeing those painted up. As Jess says, yes, awesome spiky boys. They're looking very cool. Nice one. And Mick also shared his Lieutenant and Phobos armor.
Easily one of the coolest models they've ever released. This guy just looks like a monster. I love that he has he's just like, it's like the old rule. If you took dwarves, you could take was it festooned pistols?
Right. Okay.
Like this guy's like festooned in combat knives.
Combat knives for sure. All the combat knives. But yeah, he's looking really good there. And
That face is really cool.
talking about Luis's Marines and Dave's Marines, that black and red combo, working really nicely.
Yeah, most great.
But yeah, looking good, Mick. Thanks for sharing. And Dave Humble says you can never have enough knives. Awesome. Nathan Sorensen.
That's awesome.
I said this is Orko Fett. Like this model is great.
I think the Mork DeLorean.
Oh, it also works good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is great. I think this might be from is Puppet Wars or
It could be from Puppets War, yeah.
who are the other guys? There's another
Cyborg.
could be. But yeah, looks right there. He's right in front of the his excellent Star Wars adjacent terrain in the background. Yeah, nice work, Nathan. Looks cool. Patrick Keith.
Yeah, these are great. That's the way Scorpions are supposed to look.
We saw the work in progress on these last week, but Patrick was finishing them up that night, I think, and posted them the following day.
When he showed these, my brain immediately went back to 2003 Games Workshop, and I was like, Scorpion green, bilious green. Like, I mean, literally, that's what these colors are.
Good old bilious green.
Oh, great color.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome.
I used to do all my Space Marines' eyes with bilious green, all their lenses.
But beautiful work there, Patrick. They look great.
That's awesome.
And he also shared his. I think he said that he painted up this group.
Oh, those are his original ones. He said he painted those like 26 years ago or something.
Yeah. So
the old school champion with the knuckle sword.
Yeah.
I always gave him I always gave him the claw. I thought the claw was way better, but the knuckle sword's great.
Yep. Excellent. Wait. So sorry. Two things. One, Scott says, do we just not get to know where the name Gonzo comes from? So Eric Gunsolus.
No, it is not.
Oh,
So to tell you how old I am, in third grade, the Muppet TV show was on, and I was acting like a weirdo like I normally do because I was a very ADHD kid back in the 80s. And then someone says, you're a weirdo like that Gonzo on the Muppet. So since third grade, I am 53 now. That has been my nickname.
Nice.
And so that's how it is because I'm a weirdo.
Okay, cool.
Just plain and simple.
I always assumed it was because of your last name.
Yeah, so did I. I was like, that makes sense.
No, I got that in third grade, and literally, I know people that have known me for 20 years that still don't even know my real name.
Right.
They're just like, that's just Gonzo. I mean, you'll hear someone yell it out in convention, and they're like, he's there.
Yep.
There he is. Go to. I'm like, yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Jeff wants to know if you were firing chickens out of a cannon.
I do have a Camilla somewhere around here. I do have a Gonzo that can be fired out of a cannon.
Nice.
He is my favorite Muppet of all time too. So
Awesome. Excellent. Sorry, Patrick, you said that's Gilly Juice speed paint. Is that on these guys or the previous ones?
It must be those ones.
It's got to be, right? Yeah.
The speed paint didn't exist when he painted those guys.
Yeah.
oh, bless speed paint.
Well, I didn't know whether he'd gone back and stripped them and repainted them.
No, he said this is from when he painted them originally.
Okay.
You can tell by the goblin green. Yeah, the goblin green basis.
Yep, and the green flocking.
Yeah. Excellent. But yeah, beautiful work there, Patrick. Then Stephen. So Stephen painted.
Are these bugbears?
I think so. Yeah. I can't remember
Man, those guys are ugly.
Old school,
Yep.
old raw Partha metal lead. You eat them, you would die type style. Those are awesome though.
I love the eye patch on this guy. But yeah,
Grenadier. I was like, those don't look like Ralph Partha to me. Those look like Grenadier.
Just that, what I grew up with miniatures.
Oh, same. I mean, I have a ton of Ralph Partha. My go-to back in the day was always like Ralph Partha was the A team. Grenadier had like the B team sculptors. Like it was like, hey, what do? You sculpt miniatures at Grenadier, and I'm like, oh, not good enough to get hired by Ralph Partha. Got it. Like,
oh, geez. Awesome. And then Steven's got his next sort of set of models that he's going to be working on. He's been prepping these.
That knight in the middle is rad.
Yeah.
Old school cool.
Absolutely.
I remember going to the store and trying to find that one miniature for your D&D game because you needed it for you, and that bard looking. I was like, yep, that would be something I would pick. That bard with the sword.
My favorites, and you can still get them. Ironwood Metal still makes them all because they have a bunch of the Ralph Partha sculpts still. The 3-level adventure packs.
Right.
So you buy a fighter, and they'd have him at low level, and then at mid level, and then at high level, and his gear would change. Those things were so good. We bought every single one of them.
Oh yeah. And then your guy would die at level 2, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
we never bought any of those because our characters would never last that long. But yeah. That's what so Jess has just said, behold my budgie smugglers. That's exactly what I was thinking there. Well, that demon at the back there.
Oh, the Ifrit, yeah.
With his pouch.
Yeah. That's like the Ifrit off the original Dungeon Master's Guide.
Right. Yeah. But no, fantastic stuff. Nice work, Stephen. I think that is all we have for the minis. Just quickly, in the chat, Alan has asked Gonzo, what events or where will we find you at Adepticon?
I will be at the there is a content creators meet and greet, which you will find myself, Captain Mizzy, and Nerd. And if we will have special edition stickers, if you collect one from each one of us and you find us, you will get a special miniature, which a friend of ours is going to be, he hasn't finished it yet, but Doug Hamilton is sculpting us a special miniature to give away for people that get all 3 stickers. So it's going to be like Pokemon hunting. But we'll be at the content creators meet and greet. We'll be walking around everywhere. We will definitely be at the Warcrow narrative event and 2 of the Warmachine narrative events. And then I will be at the Warmachine or the Steamforged Games keynote and the Chorus Belly keynote. And I'll be everywhere. I'll be smoozing because I got to talk to a lot of Trench Crusade guys. And if you know me, I have no couth and no calm, and I will talk to everybody and anybody. So come up and say hi. 100%. Say, hey, I heard you here. Cool. Here's your sticker.
Excellent.
Cool.
So thank you. Alan's in New Zealand. He'll be traveling to the US for his very first Adepticon this year.
Ooh, so good time to come.
And of course, he hasn't asked where we'll be. He doesn't care about us.
He's got more episodes to find out where we're going to be. I mean,
this is true. Plenty more episodes. At least 7, man. Excellent. Cool. Awesome. Yes. That's
do we know what we're doing for next week, or is that a surprise? Or
well, just quickly, Scott says, so if your nickname is Gonzo, how'd you get the nickname Nerd? So
Nerd is the other person that's on my channel.
Yep.
And she runs the podcast Nerd Holla, or the Twitch stream Nerd Holla. And that's her nickname is Nerd.
Cool.
And so and Captain Mizzy is Captain Mizzy. And we don't mess with the pirate.
Nice. Cool. Unfortunately, Sean is probably not going to Adepticon.
Boo.
Boo. Fantastic.
Well, you can watch our lead up and our recap episode. So
yep, for sure. We'll have plenty of those. And so I've been sending messages to John Schaefer trying to confirm what we might be doing next week. I think he's checking with other people, but hopefully he'll let me know soon. But our fallback position will be talking Necromunda. with John Schaefer next week.
Nice.
So,
Love
John's
Necromunda.
more Necromunda events at Adepticon, but John's a big Necromunda nerd. We'll probably be able to get Hank on in the chat.
For sure.
Also a big Necromunda nerd. But yeah. And Scott says, well, if you yell nerd at Adepticon, I imagine it's not as easy. Exactly what you're looking
You
for.
will find nerd. You will find her at Fort Wapple, working there because she does hang out with a lot of the other artists. She will be going around because we do have a social media thing that we need to do. We're trying to try out as many demo games that we can, so we can report on them. So we can say, hey, we tried this. This is what we think. Can't really miss her. She's got shaved head and big old mohawky type hair, and then she'll probably have it colored.
Well, we'll definitely have to all meet up once we're there. We can all go out and do something. Go to dinner one of the nights or something. Yeah, the weirdest thing is going to be not knowing where Fort Wapple is. Like every year, the first thing you see is like under the escalator. Now I'm going to be like, we're going to have to find it.
It's gonna be to the left. Like
Okay.
if you're standing in front of the convention center outside, the enormous convention center.
Yeah.
It's gonna be down the left end. So
Like once you go in the main hall, kind of thing.
like if you go in the doors, but kind of the lower level is sort of split into two parts.
Yeah.
And then it sort of joins up at the top and the like the second and third floor.
Yeah.
But the lower level to the left is where it's
Hey, Dave, can you go wear one of those Google backpacks and walk around the convention center before it happens?
Oh, nice. You can do a digital walkthrough.
Yeah, dude.
Well, we should get Hank to do that. I think in so they just had another vendor walk through.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, that happened a couple of weeks ago. I think they've got one more walkthrough before the show.
I just wanted to see you lug a backpack around and.
Yeah, seriously.
That sounds like work.
It does sound like work.
I'm going to be working. Actually, I will be working at Fort Wapple at the Hobby Seminar Hub Thursday and Friday morning. So.
I will not be working at Fort Wapple, but I will definitely be hanging out at Fort Wapple because I'm usually either talking to Dave or checking with like friends of ours that are at the booth or seeing what Jim's up to. But yeah, I might actually bring some more stuff to work on while I'm there. I say that every year, and then every year I'm like, I don't want to work on this now.
I bet you. Bring your Warhounds.
I'm bringing them.
Yeah, you'll be working on those at Fort.
But if you want to see all three of us at once, all three of us will be at the content creator meet and greet, which they're doing this year. And all three of us will be there, and I've got special T-shirts just for us that I am forced to wear.
Nice. And when he says all three, you mean obviously means
he doesn't mean us. He means
Nerd and Gonzo.
Yeah, Mizzy, Nerd, and Gon, me and I will be at the meet and greet, and so you do have to get a ticket. It doesn't cost anything, but they're trying to judge how many people, and it sold out instantly. To right off the bat. I mean, I think they increased it, but it was over 100 people signed up to go meet content creators.
Right. Cool.
Well, Dave, if we don't have anything else, lastly, we'd like to thank the Army Painter again for their season sponsorship. We love having them as partners. Huge thanks to Gonzo for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time to come on and say hi to our crowd and talk about Warmachine. Huge thanks to everybody who's in here in the chat, whether you're listening now or whether you're listening later. Make sure you go ahead and do all the things like subscribe, hit the bell, notifications, share this wherever, and go check out Gonzo's channel. You can see all the different stuff that they have. You can check out Nerd's show. Like there's a bunch of other content on there that you can kind of check out. Gonzo, you want to plug this site one more time? So if anybody didn't hear it earlier.
Just go and check out More Than Dice. You can Google it if you want to go and check out. We do stream on Twitch every Sunday, and most every Wednesday we kind of hang out and just do some paint along. We have a Discord, so if you want to come in, we play video games and we hang out in there and talk all the time. And we are open to anybody coming in. We have a motto that if you need someone to talk to, we're here. I don't care who you are, where you're at, or what you're doing. If you just need to hang out in my channel while I play video games, come and hang out on my channel. I'm here.
For sure. Anything else, Dave?
No, I think that's me. I think that's it, mate.
Wow. Okay. Are you ready to go?
Sure. Yes.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you guys next week, hopefully with John. And until then, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Yeah.